Welcome to Euphoria Season 4, Episode 2. As always, we are available on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify.
I thought Yamato was always going to do this intro.
No, we just did it the one time. I mean, unless Phil wants to edit it back in.
Phil?
To be fair, Yamato recorded that like on his iPhone in his bedroom. So I think like if we're gonna use it over and over again, we need to bring him back. Reminder: we still owe 2 G2 members a bet. The cosplays are being made; they'll happen after Rift Rivals. Quickshot's also getting a tattoo, and we'll work on some new bets for this season. We're gonna talk about a lot of different stuff today. But first off, I do want to welcome our guests, the greatest mid laner turned bot laner in League of Legends history. It's very easy to call you that because I think you're the only one. Yeah. We've had bot laners turn junglers. We've had mid laners turn junglers. For some reason, people always go to jungle as their second role.
I've had a bot laner turn mid lane.
Who was that?
It was Uzi for one split.
That sounds awful.
He was awful at it.
All right. Anyway, welcome, Perkz. How are you? How's everything in the G2 house?
Well, I'm good. You know, I can't really complain, right? I think personally now I'm like feeling a little bit tired from like not from like lack of sleep.
Waking up early.
No. I'm feeling like in general tired. But yeah, a bit tired because this Euphoria guys woke me up early to do a
we woke you up early, and then the cab was like a half hour late. So you just had to like stand in front of your house. So shout out to German cab companies, by the way.
But yeah, in general, I'm just feeling a bit tired from like the non-stop playing, I guess. And
So you're talking about like burnout, yeah?
yeah, a little bit, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm really, because like it usually happens sometimes, you know, but I realize it and I'm like but this time it's like, I'm just like a little bit more tired, you know? And, like, it's like I haven't really had a break for like, since I became pro. Even before that, because 2015, I was, 2015 Summer Split, I was playing Challenger Series, like trying to like be good, right, in Challenger Series. So even then, like, I didn't really have like a break. So basically for like 4 years now, almost, I haven't really had a break.
So can you like, because people throw around the word like burnout, but I don't think they actually really know how intense your guys' schedules can be. And I think you just gave like a great example of like since the last like 4 to 5 years, you haven't had a break. Can you like, when was the last time you had like a vacation? Can you remember a time when you had like a weekend off?
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean, I remember that, but it's like, it's not really like, because I went to Gran Canaria to visit Mitty this December. And I was like, we were like surfing and swimming in December, and that was like a shock to me. And I was like, wow, I can do that in December, you know? So that was really nice. But that was like only for 4 days or something, right? I haven't like had like let's say like even like 2 weeks off of like just completely like resetting my mind of something. Because every off season, there's been something to do.
Yeah.
But now it's like we have this team for 3 years signed. So I'm kind of looking forward to the offseason already, you know?
I mean, you don't really, to be fair, I mean, the League of Legends schedule, one of the criticisms is always levied against it is that it's very dense, and it is very dense. And the problem is, if you want time off, you have to be worse, Perkz. You just have to suck. That's the key. You just can't make worlds, and then you're going to have a lot of time off.
I can't do that, unfortunately. That's not in my blood, so I have to just keep trying.
Does it feel weird coming back as like MSI Champions? Does it feel real yet? Because when we saw you after the finals, I know the SKT victory was like huge for you, and I know the Team Liquid victory felt like it was less meaningful than that SKT victory. I know you guys talked about that, but does it feel like it's set in yet? Do you feel like you wake up every day like, oh yeah, I'm an MSI Champion, we're the best team in the world, or does it not feel real?
I mean, it's not if it feels real or not. It's more like it's not. I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense, right? Because I told you that, I mean, the only thing that feels like surreal is like the conditions that we went through to do that, you know, because we haven't really played with Mickey for like 2.5 months or something, right? And then we literally played like, was it 1 or 2 days before MSI? We played, I think, 2 days of scrims with him. And one day we were like inting, one day we were doing well because like, yeah, we haven't really played together. And then we go on stage and we are playing all these matchups that I kind of know how they go because I've been playing a lot of solo queue and scrims. So I would just be telling Mickey, yeah, we pick this here, we do this, and it's fine, you know. I'm like, I trust you, you will do well, you know, no matter what the matchup. And it was going very, very well, right? So the fact with that and some other circumstances that I can't really talk about in the spring split, but it's just that's the insane part. But I always thought, like, I mean, the reason why we made this team is because I thought this is gonna be our. I thought we could do this, right? I mean, granted, it's like a little bit early because we are only 3 months together. So yeah, the circumstances are insane part, but the fact that we actually won is not that surprising to me because of how well we are doing.
So there's always this conversation about like Western players. I'm sure you've heard some of the quotes, especially from like Mithy, old teammates, where he's like, now I realize that we can win. It felt like so many Western players just decided that Worlds, MSI, and international title was just never going to be on the cards for them, that the best they could do was like get there and like maybe make an upset or something like that. Like where are you like the only Western player left that was like, no, we can still win Worlds, or do you think that the rest of G2, like this iteration of G2 came together because if you asked Wonder, if you asked Yangus, if you asked Mickey, that they all said the same thing, like we can actually win an international title?
Well, that was kind of sad, right? Because that's big reason why we split up, and that kind of like hurt me back then a lot because I mean I was just like a kid and I thought we were really good and I thought we could win, and I think Sven was the only one from that iteration of G2 that also thought and strive for like actually winning internationally. And I feel like the others were trying hard, but I didn't actually believe in it. And if you don't actually believe in something you're doing, then you're probably not gonna be getting it, You have to like dream big to make it big, right? And I wouldn't say I'm the only player. I mean, I don't know what other players, right? But I know that Caps, for example, because I spoke to him. That's summer split 2017. We spoke at that final. I mean, he was playing third place, I was playing final, and we were like talking, and he was asking me like, why do you think that EU teams cannot beat Korean teams? Like why do you think Koreans are better than Western teams or something? I'm like, I don't really know, right? I don't know why, but I want to beat them, And he's like, he wanted to beat them too. So the fact that he was very successful last year and I was successful the 2 years before kind of made me think that if we were to play together, and I already thought that Jankos and Wunder were like very, very good, right?
Yeah.
And Mickey was just like a cherry on the top.
Yeah, I think everyone's impressed. I think this is the first time in European history where like a super team has come together and worked from the start, and then also like done as much. I mean, no one's won MSI before, right? From Europe, this is like an insane year.
Is this like the ultimate super team? Because you even think about like KT Rolster, where they won domestically when they put together the super team, but then unfortunately fell to Invictus Gaming. IG were never considered a super team in China. They were considered a very good team, but it wasn't like, the super team would have been if it was like Rookie, The Shy, Uzi, Mako, like that type of
first
iteration.
real super team.
Yeah.
Like the first actual super team.
Yeah,
where people aren't like, oh, on paper this team should be good. People are like, on paper they're good. On stage they're even better. Like it's crazy. I'll stop. This is my European fanboyism coming through a little bit, and we can turn it from a positive to a little bit of a negative here. We asked for Twitter questions. We also did a top 20 last week, unsurprisingly. A lot of people wanted to know
I hope you're ready to flame.
How you felt about our top 20 list, and a lot of people might have felt that you were a little bit too far down. Now,
no, you have to say it in voice of the Reddit comments. Yo, Perkz, how you feel about these trolls ranking you so low on top 20?
Troll-ass ranking.
Troll-ass ranking.
So, to be fair to Froskurinn, she put you as number 8. You were below Kabi in the 80 carry tier list. I put you as number 13, which after your first week's performance feels a little bad, but I will accept my dues here on this one.
Who did I put him below? I think I put him below Broxa, Kabe.
No, it wasn't below Broxa. It was literally it was Nuke Duck, Kabe, and then those were the only two.
Cabo Shard.
Cabo Shard.
Well, we're killing one of those.
We're the only people that weren't G2 players that you were below. I put you below Hillisang, which feels bad. But to be fair, you've said it on your stream, there is a S-tier Hillisang out there. He just sometimes shows
true,
up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to defend myself as much as possible before you like destroy me. I'm like, please. But how do you feel about the rankings?
Well, I'll go easy on you because I haven't actually watched the video, so I don't really know what. I mean, when I saw because I saw the ranking, someone told me from my team or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck, but I didn't really see explanations or reasonings why. But I was like, honestly, I was really shocked, you know. And I'm the player that's like confident, and I do have ego. So
were you shocked about 13 or 8?
Honestly, I was shocked about both.
All right,
I mean, the 13 one, I actually thought it was like prank. I actually thought that must have been a prank. That was like,
all right.
That was actually like, I think maybe you were just getting at me for some reason. I didn't really know
I just
why.
hate it when you call me Chifa.
I didn't really know. Maybe that's the reason. Yeah, maybe that's the reason why. I mean, okay, I'll start elaborating a bit. So it was fine when I was being called not the best when we were winning Europe and stuff, because that's fine, you know. I'm a new role. It's a new role. People don't want to accept that I'm better than them in only 3 months of playing, and that's okay, you know. That makes sense. And but after winning MSI, that's like, honestly, that I felt really disrespected, because to win MSI, there is no way that you cannot all be the best in your role. I mean, or like at least in your region, Because I remember a situation in 2017 where like SKT won MSI, and Wolf was not getting recognition that he deserved, and pro players, and like I was especially asking Mitty, like, what do you think about like Wolf? Is like really good, and he's like, yeah, he's way better than other people who were saying, like, people saying Mata, Gorilla, blah blah, right? They're like the better Korean supports, but Wolf was actually like really insane from pro player perspective, but he was not getting the recognition he deserved because of the narratives or the player histories or whatever, because he was a newer player and he was winning. But so it kind of reminded me of that sense. So, but it's like, it's fine. I just have to, I mean, it's an opinion, right? So it doesn't matter in a big picture, because I have enough ego of my own to like ignore it. But yeah, it just kind of, I felt a bit disrespected, yeah.
Do you think that if you took anyone from the G2 roster and you subbed in any of the other top players, that the roster gets better, or do you think it only works in like its perfect like situation?
There is also something that I was reading, that I like glanced at like Twitter or something, and I don't know where I saw it, but it's like people were saying that you can remove a player and be a top team, but that's not how it works. For some teams maybe, but to win an MSI, that's like, no one really understands that everyone on this team is just fit, just perfect together. It's like there is not one person you could take out and it could work as the same. There is just, it's not how it works. Every one of us on this team is just there because they deserve to be there and they are meant to be there. And yeah, that's what I think. There is no one you can take out and replace, and it will be the same.
I think so. To give you my logic, and you can add, once again, this is more fuel for the fire if you do want to flame me. I think in the
he already did.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. But I feel like you softened it, which I sincerely appreciate. You could have absolutely destroyed me, but I feel like you softballed it, so I appreciate that. I think anytime we look at a number one team in Europe in the past, like when Fnatic was number one, people were so quick to just make their top 5 players in Europe the 5 Fnatic members, right? And I think I'm very aware of that. And coming into this, I like really looked at G2, and I saw your high highs at MSI, and I was like, that's fantastic. But I also saw your low lows. And to me, G2, the team, no doubt the best team Europe's ever produced, right? But I was trying to think if you, and this is the difficulty, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a team game. So how do I rate you as an individual? And my thing is that I'd seen some low lows, I'd seen some struggles. It felt like there were still some moments where either you and Mickey weren't on the same page, or there were parts where I could chalk it up to learning the role, but ultimately I don't know. But there were some mistakes, and I didn't want to just slot you in there because your team was doing so well, because it felt like there were just intangibles that weren't answered yet, right? Like, how good would you look if mages were never allowed in the bot lane again? How good would you be without some of the more spell-focused AD carries like Xayah, like Kai'Sa? Your Xayah and Kai'Sa, insane, by the way. Never said he couldn't play him. Got a lot of flame this last week for rating you so low. Or Lucian's a good example too, right? And so it's just, to me, it's like, I don't feel like I've seen you in the role long enough to rate you as highly. And maybe that's wrong, right? Because you also smurfed on some of the best AD carries in the world, right? Like, you absolutely had those insane games. But you also, like, got stomped by Fong Blue Buffalo. And so I was, like, trying to put that together. So I will admit that 13 is probably too low. I will give you that. You should be top 10, no doubt. Should you be number, like, 2 or number 3? Unless I'm also considering you a mid laner. I don't think so yet. Maybe that's wrong. But I'll say that G2 Esports is definitely number 1, and I should have put you in top 10.
I guess I'm more so curious about the mentality that, like, if, let's say, Invictus Gaming win, and if like, Balan is then the best support in the region, because that feels real bad to me. I'm like, because I think that's so interesting of, if a team wins MSI, then all automatically, and correct me if I'm misrepresenting what you said, that like all 5 are the best in their role.
Yeah, okay. That maybe changes region to region, right? But like, let's say if an NA or EU team would win this, because like LPL, for example, as a region, I watch LPL, and like their 16th team is probably better than Europe's 5th team, and that's my perspective, because they have 16 teams, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like,
Oh, you got it.
they're like the bottom tier teams challenge top tier teams in the fact where they can actually take a series of them, not only a game, like 2 wins, out of best of 3, and that's not easy to do against a top team. And in Europe, that just doesn't happen. That didn't happen before, and it doesn't happen here because that's not how it was. There's like 3 good teams, and then like 3 teams that could beat them, and then there's like 3 teams that are like at the bottom, and they will not probably take games of you, And for LPL, it's different, I would say, because I mean, like I watch RNG play, and Uzi and Ming are just insane, right? They are obviously like a level above other bot lanes there. So it would be unfair to rate them lower than them, right? But as for Europe, I to go back to the point like of Drakos, like me and Mickey were winning lanes against every bot lane in Europe, and it was like not even. Honestly, if you guys watch the games or if you guys watch the POV, it was pretty sad what was actually happening in some of these lanes. And the games where we started losing was because we were all trolling as a team, not because bot lane was inting or I was inting, because after we were like I don't know 12-2 I think, and then we were like secured for first. The last 2 weeks it was already done. As long as we are secured for first, we don't really try to. We try to relax more, and we were like, watching movies every day, going restaurant, and just like relaxing, team bonding, And then on top of that, I didn't scrim with Promiscu at all, and we played on stage, and played against like a really sweaty fanatic who were like stacking waves and diving us, and our mid laner was not even saying that he was coming bot,
Oh, God.
So like all this stuff happened because of a team thing. So when a team looks good, then it's better to perform good as well, if that makes sense. And when team is not looking good, it's harder to perform good, and that's where maybe I could be better at, like performing when my team is not performing good, But we kind of like in together and kind of win together, if that makes sense, I have like a lot of trust in my teammates, especially with Mickey, and that's maybe like a bad thing as well, But maybe it's because it actually we won. So maybe it's a really, really good thing that I'm like not afraid to hit him, Whereas like if it's like Reckless and Hylissang, I'm just taking them because they're like, I think they're one of the better bot lanes in Europe. If Hylissang ints, Reckless will not int. Yeah. And that's how it goes, Like there's never a Reckless inting. Besides the game, he went like 0-10 with Sivir. But that's like, and also that like he went 0-10 with Sivir and then he gets like top 3. Like how does it even make sense? I never ran it down so hard in my life that I get, and then he still gets put. Like the performance of him didn't matter the first early split, but it really mattered the end of the split. But for me, the rankings of me matter because we lost some games in second half of the split. So I felt like it was really unfair the way casters were judging me. I don't really mind the fans. But it's like the casters are usually your brand. That's the biggest problem of like pro players, or in general players, right? Casters are basically your public image. Whatever casters say about you is what you are, unless like someone else says something better, like players or someone who is like above casters in general, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Casters have a lot of influence on your image.
So I think that's actually really good, and we're gonna do an episode later in the split. And if you'd love to come on, we can have you too. But this is something we want to talk to Soaz about because it's something that he brought up, because I think that this is like a really good discussion. But if we get into it now, I think we'll talk about it for like a half an hour. And we would definitely want to talk to you more
we should probably not
because like there's a lot to be said there, right?
Yeah, there is.
But the TLDR is just like, it's kind of our job to have opinions. But I understand that like if we have a bad or uninformed opinion, how bad that can be for you. Because like we get social media
I'm just saying that like
too.
narratives, because I never listen, for example, to the cast, but I listen to like a highlight or something, and then it's like You said something like the weak league of G2,
Oh
and
my-
I was
okay,
like,
let me defend
and I
that
was
real
actually,
quick.
Wait, what'd you
no,
say?
just don't defend it. Like, just stop it. It's fine.
I was-
it's just the narratives. I understand it.
No,
you know?
it wasn't a narrative.
But-
It was literally, you guys were so good. I was like, all right, if we have to find a weak link on G2, I guess it's Perkz. And I said it.
Are you talking about when you were saying the sarcasm?
I was
Oh
so
my God.
sarcastic.
He literally
and I
said it
still
in
get-
the most sarcastic way, as like a G2 are so good, there's nothing you could do. So in just like a total, like the most like facetious thing he could have said, he was like,
Just
well,
that
I
one.
guess it's Perkz. You gotta go through Perkz.
I
He's
guess
the
you
only
gotta
weak
call
link."
Perkz the weak link because you had like one death in an otherwise
And then
perfect game for
everyone
your team.
took him entirely seriously. And then that's when I turned to Drakos. I was like, I guess a huge portion of our audience don't have English as a first language, which totally makes sense. But like we had to go back into our cast and like rethink about all of like our because we're like very sarcastic people, and it just like doesn't
carry.
connect.
Yeah.
And
So,
so
yeah.
now in all of our new casts, we never use
see like
sarcasm.
I only see the I don't see the videos. I just see
Yeah.
like what someone writes, right?
Yeah, like the clip
Yeah.
clipped out, which is fair. Like if you clip it out and then you just write the words I say without the tone, it does seem pretty bad. So I'll give you that.
But that's enough of like the casters thing. I think like
Yeah.
it's
But I
whatever,
think it's
right?
like
it makes
is-
sense.
It's but it's also like a really cool discussion that I do want to have at some point because I think a lot of people have thoughts on that. Dang, what was I gonna say? Round this out. Things that I thought were interesting is just in general rating players individually. To kind of wrap this up, I want to know if do you ever like how would you rate players individually if you have to rate players individually? How do you look at it? Because you talked about your team and how winning and losing is a team thing, right? You guys int as a team or you like stomp as a team, right? Is that just for G2 or do you think in general it's really hard to rate individual players on a team unless they're like, let's say like actually just down 30 CS every game and running it down?
No, I mean for me it's very easy because I rate them when I play against them or when I see them play. I rate them by everything, like by the way they move in lane, the way they move on the map, the way they play team fights, the way they draft, the way they like just everything in the game. I rate them by. There is like not one detail that makes someone better than the other one. There is just a lot of small details that makes someone better than another one, and that's I think a lot harder to do for casters. And even though I think that actually EU casters in general are pretty good, I like you guys. I'm just saying the pro players have usually better input on how good the player is actually than a caster. And
So-
that's, yeah.
I don't think anyone would ever disagree
Yeah,
with you there.
I think at the end of the day, I'm curious though, as one final question, because I actually, this is like, we always want to get better as casters and want to give the best reviews that we can. How much of what you're seeing comes from your perspective in game versus like, let's say, watching a VOD afterwards? Because like one of the things that's cool about us having Pro View now is that like it's very easy for us to go back and watch a lane phase and go, wow, this guy really f***ed up, or this guy really popped off in this lane phase.
I will say that having access to ProView, I was watching LCS. I will not name the player that I was watching the ProView on, but I had an instantaneous reaction of, this player is garbage. And I don't know how quickly you can get that read on it.
Oh, I can get it. I mean, I get it from the first 2 minutes of laning phase.
Yeah.
From the first 2 minutes of laning phase, I can say if someone is good player or bad player. And oh my, the narratives of passive player and aggressive player, they actually have to stop.
That's the only way
In
we can do it, because if he
2019,
doesn't train on the CS.
they have to stop. In 2019,
Okay.
these narratives have to stop. There is
Passive
no
or aggressive
passive
player.
or aggressive players. There is just good or bad. And there is no lane player or teamfight player. There is just good or bad. So it's these narratives, like they actually trigger me, I think, the most. Like there is no.
How do we put bad players into a bucket?
Either you're good or you're bad. There is just
Luka,
not much.
I totally agree with you, but the problem is that we can't go and flame over half of our league. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's fine for you to sit on like your G2 kingdom where you guys are all laning gods and be like, why don't they just tell it as it is? But 90% of our players don't understand certain matchups. And I can't just
Yeah.
be as a caster, like if I see someone who's like a very high end player, like a
It's true.
matchup, and
My
be
ego's
like,
my ego's getting to me. You guys got me. My ego's getting
Well,
to me. It's fine.
We'll talk more in the future. So today's main topic is AD carry versus mid lane. You are the only qualified person to have played, I think, both roles. Apparently also Uzi, which I didn't know about, but we'll...
So when Tabe retired, Uzi refused to play with any other support. So he was like, I'm gonna be a mid laner now. And so he had
I
this
heard it,
short
sorry,
int where he went into mid lane. He played Morgana and he played Vayne mid, and it was horrific to watch.
All right. So before we talk about that, I do have one game that I want to play. Longtime viewers of the show may know this one. It's called Viable. So the concept is, I don't know, your coach, and you need to pitch me on a new champion that you want to play. Now, you have 4 options of champions to pitch me. There is reworked Mordekaiser, the one that's not out yet, Nasus, Shaco, and Katarina. These are all champs that I think are bad. If one of those champions is actually good and you want to...
Rework Mordekaiser, the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Okay,
You can pitch...
I can already pitch it.
You could... Hold on, wait. I'm going to give you 40 seconds to do it. And you need to, like, sell it with passion and convince me. And whoever does it better will win.
Wait, what was the other 3?
The other 3 is, so, new Mordekaiser, Nasus, Shaco, Katarina.
Okay, I'm not buying Nasus and Shaco, but I can do 2.
You can give me one.
Yeah.
I just need one. You get 40 seconds to give me one.
Okay.
Froskurinn, he's already got new Mordekaiser. Who do you want? Katarina, Shaco, Nasus. You got to think of. You got to tell me where you're playing it. You got to tell me what you're building. You got to tell me like how it's gonna work. You got to give me everything.
Okay, I can do Katarina and Mordekaiser.
You can do.
I can do both of them in 40 seconds.
Oh my god, I'm ready.
Seriously?
That means you get
go.
Nasus and Shaco. Hold on, I got to get a timer.
Oh, I have to do Nasus and Shaco.
Yeah, you get.
Well,
you
that's
got.
impossible.
He's the
Good
pro
luck
player.
with
You're,
that.
you're doomed.
That's gonna be really troll, like Frost. Like, come on.
Yeah. All right, you ready? 40 seconds. Luca, you're gonna go first.
Okay.
New Mordekaiser, Katarina. Go now.
Okay, so the new Mordekaiser is gonna be very, very OP because it's a new champion, and champions are always OP. I don't even know what it does, but I'm for sure gonna play it in the bot lane. Probably gonna see it in LEC from me, and yeah, I'm gonna be one-shotting some people with the new Mordekaiser. I think doesn't even matter what you build; it's a new champion. So new Mordekaiser for sure OP. Katarina, well, Katarina is like hidden OP because you just have to like know how to lane with her in a way where you need to call your jungler and support, so you can actually lane. I mean, like for mid, right? And then you get Hex the Gambit, and then you're actually strong. But you need to play in like a match where you can actually play, like I would say against Zoe or Syndra, some mages, right? You know, and then it's actually quite
2
doable.
seconds.
So I think Katarina is good.
Awesome. 40 seconds on the dot, dude. Nailed it. I like that your Mordekaiser argument was just Riot Games makes every new champion OP. He'll be OP. Doesn't matter. Don't know what he does. Don't care. Don't need to read it. I'm just going to pick him. That's great. The balanced team is really going to love you for that, by the way. I look forward to the
It's my turn.
commentary. Are you ready? You have Nasus and Shaco.
Wait, do I have to do both?
You can pick one. Luca went above and beyond. He
Okay,
tried to
okay,
double down
we'll see
for
what
more
happens.
bonus
We'll
points.
see
You
what
ready? You
happens.
have 40 seconds. Who are you going to start with?
I'm
Tell
gonna
me
start
that.
with Shaco.
Okay, ready, set, go.
I think in certain compositions, Shaco would be really interesting if you ran him with like an Ivern support. So think about like Unsealed Spellbook Ivern with Smite, and then you go and you set up the jungle. So Shaco has his boxes, and you can make sure that you have level 1 Strong Invade. I don't know where you're getting it with Shaco and Ivern, but maybe the rest of the champions on your 5v5. You walk in and you split the jungle where Shaco starts one side, Ivern starts the other side, and you just try to hard the enemy jungler by taking all of the camps. And then late game, Shaco will just like one-shot an ADC, so I guess that's what you're aiming for. Nasus, I guess let's try to run him in support?
Where's Betsy? We need the Nasus.
Yeah, we need that,
Just put all of your points
You're out of
into
time.
Wither.
All right, I'll give you one. I'm going to say the Nasus one wasn't in detail.
What do you mean? I told you to run it. Oh, Nasus.
Yeah, you got 40 seconds. You're Shaco.
Yeah,
I like.
one could be. I can see it.
Do you?
So
Here's the question. Here's the question. Do you drop boxes at the camp and then have Ivern start it so that like the Shaco boxes?
No, you have to start them separately.
Oh yeah.
So
So
what-
Ivern can't even leash for Shaco.
So what some of the Vietnamese teams were doing, and Snake, because they have SOFM and so they used to scrim, is they would do Rengar Ivern, but Ivern support with Unsealed Spellbook with the Smite.
Oh yeah, we are doing that too.
The Babush Cat.
We tried Ivern Rengar bot lane, me and Ender. It's really bad.
It sounds like it would be so good though.
They pick Kaylin and you just instantly
But they
lose.
just hard push against you and then they get to use the bushes. And they would literally just try to like split the jungle and eat as much farm as possible. I don't know if it would work with Shaco because I don't think his early skirmishing is very good against some of the current junglers.
Tell me this, Perkz. If you had to pick, would you try Shaco? Is this a champion that G2 would consider trying? Or is this champion just like too far gone? Not to give anything away, because I think you guys are like the mastermind. So if you haven't practiced literally every champion in the game, I'll be
Shaco.
surprised.
I mean, I can see it like top bot maybe support or top lane. Shaco, I can see it.
Support Shake. God,
Yeah.
that excites me for the future. All right, well, at the end of the day, I'm going to give it to Luca, because at the Riot's games balance team makes every champion OP on release is like classic Reddit narrative, by the way. Been a little true recently, Akali.
Yumi.
I mean, it's
Yumi.
okay. It's like maybe it's not always OP
Yumi
on
was
straight
bad,
release,
and then she
but
was
then
really
like
good.
they buff it within a day, and then it's like giga OP. I think that was like same with Aatrox, the rework Aatrox, and same with Yumi. And but yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think it makes honestly people complain about it, but I think it makes sense. Like you can only balance a champion out if it's actually strong, and you bring it down a bit, you know. So yeah, personally, I don't mind it. I think
How
it's
busted is Mickey's Yuumi? And how busted are you with Yuumi?
okay. It's actually really, really, really insane. Okay, I don't want to go into details, but like me with Yuumi and Mickey with Yuumi, it's really nice. We had to ban it this week because I didn't want to go into a situation where we are playing, because we only like had 2 days of streams, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, it's a different patch. So if you play against Yuumi and somehow we get cheese or something, like I want some more practice on it, but I can't wait to play with Yuumi on stage. Like honestly, it's really fun. It's really broken, Yuumi, so I don't really want to play against it, but you know.
It's obnoxious.
It is what it is.
It's obnoxious as hell. I hate starting to lose lane against a Yuumi. I feel like there's literally nothing you can do once you start losing against that champion. On to the main topic of the day, AD carry versus mid lane. Perkz, you've come out in a couple of different interviews to talk about the differences. Sometimes you're like, AD carries are bad, mid laners are better. Sometimes you're like, all right, mid laners are better because they have X, Y, and Z. So let's settle it. Let's talk about the differences. Overall, what do you think is the biggest difference between mid laners and AD carries now that you've played both roles?
Well, honestly, I don't even know what's like the biggest difference because there's like a lot of differences, but a lot of similarities as well. I would say maybe the biggest difference and the most obvious one is the bot lane you are 2 as 1. In the mid lane, you are just 1v1. I mean, there is like every lane can interfere in the mid lane because it's in the middle, but you are like laning 1v1. In the bot lane, you lane as 2, but you have to lane as 1. If that makes sense. Like everything you do needs to be together. The way you move, the way you do your laning phase, it's just everything is synchronized.
How do you tell Mickey when you guys want to trade? Do you actually say like, we're going for the trade now? Or you just keep track of cooldowns?
We are just good on our own. So we kind of know when to trade, and then we just trade together, or like we do stuff together, and that's because we are just good at the game, right? And sometimes when we don't do it, then we go over it in review, and he tells me, oh, maybe you can do this, and then I tell him, especially now when there's pro view, I watch my laning phase, and from like each point of view, from like him, from Mickey, I watch from Mickey point of view. So I watch like point of views to see what I can do better and what we can do to punish enemy bot lane better. And it's very, in a way it's very nice to play as a duo because it requires way more teamwork and like I feel like more skill to play well together. So it's kind of more rewarding in a sense as well because it's like you do something with someone else and you're not alone. So that's like the nice part, you know. But at the same time, it's also the bad part because you're not alone. You're not your own, you know. You always depend on your support, and that's where like the mid lane comes out, you know. There's where like, oh yeah, but I really don't feel like I can do anything alone, you know. But together we are so much better. So besides when I play mages, Mickey knows already I will bomb into the lane, so it's fine.
Well, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, I have a ton too.
Okay.
We got plenty here.
And obviously, like, I don't want you to give any like of your strategies away or anything like that. But my first question is, how many matchups do you think are support dependent or ADC dependent in terms of where the trading windows are? Like, who actually wins the matchup for you? And then the second question. Oh, answer that one first, and then we'll get to the second question. I have so many questions.
Well, I think it depends on lane. I think it's a lot of times it's together, but a lot of times it's just better support matchup will win because. AD carries should just mostly focus on like pushing the waves and dodging skill shots. That's how it goes. And supports are the ones who are like giving you lane presence by walking up or like taking trades and just knowing when to all in. So I would say it's like, let's say 65% support and 35 AD. I think it's like that. Depending on lanes as well. Let's say in a lot of lanes, it can be the AD carry walking up as well, like in Zara Arcan lanes. And yeah, I don't know, lanes where you can dash in and stuff. So,
are there any matchups that are player dependent? Like if you know that you're against X AD carry player that...
Oh, there is a lot of them.
That you can then decide to be like what's normally a support-based matchup where it's like normally the support who creates the zone, but because you know that AD carry that you could just bully him around, that you suddenly become like the...
I don't think it's exactly like that. I think it's more like if I know that enemy support is worse, then it's a lot easier for me to play already. Because the AD...
Because you know you
okay,
won't be
I can actually see I thought there's because for a long time I didn't think there was like much differences between AD carries. I didn't really see what someone does good or bad, but I can see when I'm playing against a bad player to compare to when I'm playing
Passive player.
compared to when I'm playing against a good player. So that's one thing I can see. But there's also like small differences between the good players as well. But it's not that big of an AD, or it's just like in support. You can really see which support does something on lane and which does not. So that's like the difference.
When you're playing a mage, like when you take your Syndra down into the bot lane, does Mickey need to do anything there? Like how much does that change Mickey's responsibility to the team when you're on a mage versus like an ADC?
Well, he has to do something, right? I mean, we're laying together. But he has, I feel like, a lot more agency, and that's how he feels as well. That he just feels the lane is really free. I mean, that's what he tells me, right? I mean, if you play mage, any lane is really free. So you can also think about doing stuff outside of the box, which is like not that normal. And then it also, I mean, depends. Like if he has like a really bad support matchup, then it's still gonna be hard for me, even though because I'm basically laying like 1v2, like literally. And with some champs, I can actually just easily do it. But yeah, some not really.
How much of that is you, Perkz, being a very experienced mid laner and now an AD carry, and how much of that is like a champion like Syndra? Like, is it the champion that allows you to play a lane in like that 2v1 situation, or is it like they have no idea what this champion does, and I know everything about this champion?
I mean, it's just me, right? I mean, I don't know
You're
what to say.
actually my favorite.
Like, I mean, I don't know what to say, right? It's true, like, because I've seen other bot lanes try to pick up stuff from me, and it's just so funny
Don't
to
say
my
names.
eyes.
So it's not like Syndra's wave clear. It's not her range.
No, I think Syndra is strong.
Yeah.
I think Syndra is strong, but there is a difference between like an AD carry Syndra player and a mid lane Syndra player, and there's also a difference between like a good mid laner Syndra player and a very good mid laner Syndra player. So there's you can always see differences, and especially in the mages, because like the way you use skills is very, very important. It's not about hitting minions or like it's just the way you position yourself in lane and the way you aim them. It's different than playing AD carry where you just have to auto attack, right? I mean, there's difference with some AD carries too, the ones where you can like actually use stuff on lane. Like for example, Zaya is one of my favorite ones because of the zone you can create on lane by just being very good at her. And there's not many AD carries that actually do that, you know? So yeah, that's why I like Zaya, for example.
Yeah.
So in terms of like when you walk into a lane and you're thinking about like where your power windows are and levels, I don't know if it was you who said it, the quote, but I remember this idea of in a mid lane, when you walk in, like level 1 starts at level 1. But as an ADC, there's a lot of ADCs that just kind of believe that they don't really need to do something until either they get like, in the Corki days, it was like level 4, or they get their first item, or they're going into team fights. Like, do you walk into lane as an ADC in the same way that a mid laner wouldn't be like level 1 matters, level 2 matters, and see that maybe your opponents aren't thinking that way?
I mean, I think teams are actually thinking like I think bot lanes must think that. I mean, like everyone thinks about the level 1. It's important for a laning phase, you know. And sometimes they don't really play it as they should, but that's like it just depends on the bot. It's same as mid lane. Like it's like I've made like a lot of interest where like, oh yeah, bot lane versus mid laner, blah blah, you know. But it's like not. It's like they're still like their own lane. A mid lane is still their own lane, and there's still a difference between like playing against a good mid laner and against a bad mid laner. Same with bot lane. It's just the same but different, right? So I think level 1 matters, but it also is so much matchup dependent. You don't really see the true skill at level 1s often. So, but level 1 to 3, you can see, let's say if someone plays a good matchup, but they do some like small mistakes on lane, even level 1, they will still win the level 1, but you can still be like, oh yeah, this lane is going to be really free because of the way they play level 1. You know, it's not about who wins level 1, it's about how you actually play it. So, and that's how it was in mid as well, right? That's how it is for every role, I feel like. You can just see, I mean, I can see when I'm laning, in the first like 20 seconds of lane, I can see if they're going to be good or bad.
Do you have like a good example of anything that you brought from mid lane into the bottom lane outside of picks that like that you felt like was new knowledge or that like helped you become a better bottom laner, that was something that like other bottom laners didn't have, whether it was like map awareness or is there like a specific way that you know how to play the lane that you learned in mid lane? Is there anything like that?
I mean, I think laning phase, I think I'm just good at laning phase in general.
What makes up like the qualities of you being good at lane phase for like, you know, your average solo queue player or your average fan back at home? Like, why is Perkz good at lane phase?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I don't really know why I'm good at what I do. I just like practice a lot, train a lot. I get better throughout the years. Each year I got better, you know. And like last year is when I truly felt I was good. Like 2018 summer split was when the first time I actually felt like, oh yeah, I'm really good. You know, this is when I actually started really enjoying the game and being like, I feel like I can get better at so many small things, but I feel like, yeah, I'm really good and I'm better than others, you know? That's actually the first time I was like, I'm really good.
Is this like when to know when to trade or keeping
Yeah,
track of the cooldowns or skill shots?
I mean, it's harder. It's a bit different from me to bot now because I'm still learning because there's so many matchups because there's two support and like support and AD both matter together. So there's like so many variables of what you can actually play. That's like even only with the AD carries and supports. And then if you put mages into that, it's like even more. But that's like different story because no one plays mages, so it's fine for me. But for mid lane, I kind of knew when I go into game, I knew how my matchup was gonna play out like level 1 to 18. Like I already knew how the whole game was gonna go, and I was going to game. And that's not something I had for bot lane. I kind of know more now, right? But they came with a lot of experience and like just playing the matchups, right? And then I would kind of expect how the matchup would go, and very often someone would make it's like I would expect how the matchup would go in a perfect scenario. If this guy is perfect and I'm perfect, this is how the matchup will go. And then there's like jungle interference, support interference, mistakes that happen on lane, and stuff like that. And then you have to take everything into account and play the game like that. But as for bot lane, it's a bit different for me, right?
How much information do you need to like cipher from Mickey? Because I'm assuming then you have all these variables of like, I need to know exactly what all the ADC champions do, what all the mid lane champions and how they play bottom, and then like all of the support champions. And do you like personally study into what the support champions are doing to you, or do you look and rely on Mickey to like give you that information of, you know, his cooldowns are this, he wants to trade on these levels, this is when he's going to go for the all-in?
I mean, it depends. It's like it's so much. Honestly, I think I could like write a book on like League of Legends.
Please.
I could write a book on League of Legends, and it would be like 1,000 pages. It's like, it's so much information, so much differences. But like, let's say at the beginning, it was a lot of times Mickey telling me when to trade, and that's like, okay. So he was telling me he was just telling me trade now, and I would play the trades like perfectly. I mean, I don't want to say perfectly, but I would trade them really good, you know? I would play them really well mechanically, and I would not always know when to trade, right? And he was just telling me when to trade, and that's why we were doing well. But as time went on, and also playing with a different support, I think really helped me grow as a bot laner, and that's why it's like a bad thing in disguise. It's actually a good thing, you know? Like, because his wrist injury actually helped me become a lot better at bot lane than I would maybe with him if I was just kept playing with him, you know? I think I grew a lot from that, and I kind of know just when to trade. And I mean, ever since MSI scrims, like before MSI and stuff, I had more agency in lane in terms of I will be calling when I want to trade and what I want to do, and yeah, that's like the small differences.
Sir, good sir.
You had like 2, and you just keep going.
Colorcaster, play-by-play caster.
Colors play, okay.
Are there any champions that you just hate playing because they don't give you the same agency? So you talked about like Zaya's zone control and everything that she
Colorcaster
can
question,
give
by the
you
way.
in a lane.
Which champions do you like? Sorry, I'm done. Go. Good
No,
question.
but it's the idea of like there are certain ADCs that feel like they just don't have a lot of power in lane to the same extent that like Zaya has power.
I mean, for example, I just enjoy in general. I just enjoy League of Legends. So I would like to play every champion to its mastery, and that's like what kind of gives me the joy. Where like whatever champ I play, I want to play it as perfect as possible this game. So I don't really mind. But then like if I'm thinking about if I actually care about the game, let's say like playoffs or something, I'm always thinking about how do I get lane pressure. Like how do I pick champ to get lane pressure, whether that's my own or as a bot and duo where like support has a lot of agency as well. I don't really mind like being the stronger in lane or not, as long as we have the stronger lane as a duo. So yeah, I will trust in Mickey to play well, and he performs, you know. So I think bot lane is a lot about trust, you know, and that's why we like in together too, you know. Like we had a game against Pongu Buffalo where I died level 1, and it's just from bot lane experience, you know, because I started like, I don't know, QW or something on Lucian, and Shen just told me level 1, I just only level 1. And I'm like, after that, I'm like, wait, why the fuck did I not start E? Like, what is wrong with me, you know? Like, what is actually, like am I just stupid or what, you know? And then Mickey also missed his E, like on Galleon. And then he's like, no, it's my bad as well. But I'm like, no, but I should really start E, you know? So after that game, I kind of made a rule to myself and like, with Mickey. We always talk what we start level 1 and what enemy started level 1. Like, always, always, always. And that's like a very good rule to have, you know? And that's like the small things I learn like every day, you know? Or like by mistakes, you know? So, yeah.
I love that example, and that was kind of tying into my next question. As I like hearing about these experiences where where you as a player that's like learning the role right on a very high tier team have failed in one instance where you don't take Lucian E at level 1 or like the communication isn't quite there. Do you have any other examples of things that you learned either at MSI or here in LEC playing bot lane, whether it's like matchup specific that you can share or?
Well, matchups is like, honestly, it's quite easy for me to lane bot. I don't. I already sound confident or arrogant, you know. But like, for example, there is like matchups that are like so easy to play.
Yeah.
That's like, let's say Varus Braum against Ashtam or something like that. That's like bot laners have been playing it for like 4 years. But I literally played it like this matchup first time at MSI, and I was winning my lane. Maybe because the matchup was supposed to be winning my lane. Like I was just playing how I think it should be played out. You know. So I feel like I have like good idea of how lane should be played out, even if I'm playing it first time. And that's, I think, my biggest strength, I would say, is that I have this. But then again, if I play the same matchup like 5 times, I feel so comfortable playing it. And that's the biggest thing about bot lane that I actually don't like, is that I am playing so many different matchups that I can't always play to my limits and know how actually it goes to perfection. Whereas if I was playing mid lane, as I said, I would know how the matchup would go level 1 to 18, and then I would even be able to like take jungle calculations, everything else in the game. I'll be able to calculate in my head, right? But as for bot lane, it's like a lot more on the fly and just about not making a mistake if I'm playing a new matchup. But if I'm playing a matchup I already know how to play, then I'm like 100% sure we're gonna win.
One of the differences. Do you want to go first?
No, it's fine.
I already flamed you
It's fine.
One of the differences that people usually think is there for mid laners is they always bring up that mid laners are like way better at building like a stronger champion pool because like every time the meta shifts, they have to pick up 5 or 6 new champions, and people think that bot laners are like just generally not strong, and they use the mage play as an example, right, where bot laners pick up mages because all AD carriers do the same thing for the most part. Is like a general sentiment that I hear a lot. Do you think that's true? Do you think that like being a mid laner has given you that strength, or do you think now that you've played bot lane that is bot lane maybe more complicated because you need to know both your matchup, your support matchup, and all the 2v2s?
I mean, for sure, mid lane is like more complicated role. It's more influential role, more complicated. It's been like so strong, and it's like only been like stronger in the past. Like it's actually crazy to think that like in season 6, like mid was like so fucking OP, and like I was so boosted back then. So if I was like any good, I would like if I was like this good then I would probably just 1v9 the whole tournament. So it's like insane how OP this role is, you know. And it's like when I was playing mid, I knew it was OP, right? Obviously, like I thought we could win every game because I knew mid was OP. Like mid jungle is just what it takes, you know. And I do think that every other role has its place in the game and is important. But the most teams is just like if you're a good team, you will win off mid jungle priority. That's how it goes, and it's been like that for a long time, you know. And it will keep being like that because mid lane is mid lane. It's the center of the map, and it just makes sense that the center of the map can influence every part of the game, like jungle, bot, top. It can influence everything. So yeah.
I was gonna have you rank the LEC bot lanes.
Ooh.
LEC bot lanes? Okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to rank Mickey and you because I'm just gonna assume that Mickey you at the top. So like, rank, let's say the next 3 to 4 bot lanes, or just the ones
Is
that
there
like,
like
really stand
teams
out
or
to you.
something?
Yeah, you can see the teams behind you. Those are the current. Those should be the current standings. And
Okay. Well, I think Origin bot lane is the best. Reasoning is they try a lot on lane. Like sometimes they make mistakes, you know, but they actually try. They push you, that kind of thing, as a duo, not just as individuals. They push you as a duo, and I think they draft well. I think that's I mean, I know Mitty, right? I know him personally, like for a long time, and I know that he's super smart. So he knows how to draft and how the game is supposed to be played. He's just a very good player. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for Origin Bot Lane, and I think they are the best, even though sometimes they ain't. And then I would say, I mean, I don't know, judging by stage, I would probably say Fnatic Bot Lane, because again, I feel like Fnatic and Schalke Bot Lane are kind of similar, and I think Fnatic Bot Lane just drafts better. And yeah, I think Hylissang is probably like one of the better, one of the best supports, like if not the best, besides Miki. I think Miki, then Hylissang, and then Miti are like the top 3 supports. So the bot lanes are already like decided a lot by the supports, right? And after, so it's like Fnatic bot lane would probably be 3rd. I think the biggest problem with them is their champion pool. Is like they draft very well in this meta, but it's like if it's like different meta, then they might have like struggles, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, Sivir and Zaya are one of the strongest ADs, and they fit very well with Hylissang champion pool, which is like playmaking, like Thresh, Nautilus, Rakan. So right now, I would say it's Fnatic's best meta, and they should do good. And Schalke, I think Upset can play all champions, like pretty much anything. And Ignar is like a good support, so I think they play well together. But I didn't really like their drafting stage. So, and lastly, they haven't really been doing much aggressive lanes, like not aggressive lanes, winning lanes either. So I'm never really scared of them doing something. I feel fine playing as them, so I would rate them like the lowest out of those. And after that, honorable mention to SK Bot Lane. I think Dreams plays well, and I think Dreams is really, really good mechanically. And Crown, he tries. So, I mean, I think he's good too, right? But he tries like a bit too hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, besides that, I feel like the other bot lanes just don't try as hard.
So, one player that showed up on your list that didn't show up and I think surprised some people was Patrick. So I'd love to know, because we didn't actually...
He said Patrick.
No. He said Patrick, but he didn't show up on our top 20 list.
I tried to put Patrick because I think Patrick's really good, but Vedius and Inder both talked me out of it because like there's no way you could put Patrick.
Yeah, but it's your list, girl.
Yeah, but I was
Like at the end of the day, you put it out with your name.
And here's
on
the funny thing: our list went through like Deficio, Vedius, Inder. Like this was a.
The bigger crime is that they didn't notice that I forgot Jizuki.
Yeah, that was.
What?
Yeah.
Forgot him?
He had
I had to
Yamato like
edit him
voice
in.
his list, and Yamato didn't even say like, "Why is it Jizuke?"
Oh,
Anyway.
man. Anyway, he's on the list.
No, I'm really happy that you said Origin's bot lane. I think Mithy gets a lot of credit for that, and Mithy is like really good. But I've actually been super impressed with Patrick, and it's easy now because he just had that incredible Ezreal game against you guys, and your incredible Zaya game. But like Patrick
Everyone's
is
incredible.
so underrated.
So that's what I want to hear from Perkz. It's like where do you think if you had to rate just AD carry players and not bot lanes overall, do you still think Patrick is in the top 3, top 4?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think if I had to rate individually AD carries, it would be like Upset, then Patrick, then Reckless. I think because Patrick plays a lot of champions, right? And he, as I said, he tries like hard to actually do good on lane, and he's not like just accepting the loss or like he's trying to make difference. Even though, I mean, it doesn't always succeed, right? But he tries, and that's what I think is important to become a good player, like to become very, very good. And yeah, I respect him because it's hard. It's not hard, but it's like harder to draft against Origin bot lane than against Fnatic bot lane. And it's like so big difference as well. Like he's not afraid of playing champs like Draven or Kalista, and he's actually good at them as well. So I just know he can play champions that others like maybe can't, right? So that's what I think gives him the edge on other players.
Nice. The one last one that I want to bring up is someone that wasn't on your list that was very high on our top 20, both of ours, and that's Kobbe. You mentioned that these guys are all the bot lanes you put very high are willing to try, willing to go for aggressive plays, willing to to take risks. Crown Shot, your honorable mention, maybe too much. Is Kobbe just a player that you think isn't willing to take those risks? Why didn't he show up on that immediate top list?
I think Kobbe is good. I just think him and Froskurinn as a duo are not that good. I mean, at least from laning phase. I think they do well actually outside of lane, and I think Kobbe plays team fights well. I think he kind of knows what to do as an AD carry, but I just don't. Their laning phase is not like nearly as good as other bot lanes, and that's what is the most important in the game since so long. Like since always, laning phase is important. There's like very rarely do you actually like if you're a bad team, you can win. If you're like bad team against bad team, you can win outside of laning phase. and you can win by team fighting and playing well, right? This is how Kobe carried many games for Splice. But if you're playing against a good team, you will never win if you're losing lane. So that's where Splice Bot Lane needs to step up. I think it's the lane phase, and yeah, I mean, that's why I'm rating them lower than other buttons.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen snowballing not quite as insane as it was, I think, at the start of spring, but still very, very strong. Now we get to go to my favorite part, which is Twitter questions. We've answered some of your questions over the course of the day. Frosco, I want your help in picking a few, but we'll start with the easy. We'll start with the gimme question, which is, talk to us about Jan. Talk to us about. So this is a meme, right? Because I know I've heard different versions. Can you just explain to us as quickly the origin story?
Yeah, I was struggling like a lot in solo queue.
Yeah.
In my motivation, and then like I went to like random name generator.
Yeah.
And I got this name Jan, and it like looked so nice, you know. It just looks nice.
It does look nice.
And then I had like a really nice icon with it as well. I'm like, okay, this is kind of catchy, you know. And then I just started using it as a meme.
Yeah.
Because people were asking what it means, and it didn't mean shit. So I didn't really know what to say, what it means. So I was just memeing a bit, you know. So, and now it's like kind of true, you know. It's like, it's not what it means, it's what it represents. And it represents like the new age of bot lane. It's a new generation, and it's like no more farming for late game. The game starts level 1. The shit's going down in early game. Like, yeah.
That's like the most Batman answer I've ever heard.
I love it so much because the Reddit threads are so full of it. All the answers are so over the top. And I didn't know how much came from you versus how much people were just making up. But it's so on point. You're so aligned in that it's like, this is the future of bot lane. This is everything. There is no more passively. This is teleports at level 3. Bot lane is a new lane. Type.
Okay, so the ones that I picked are why. So it says, why did he pick Mickey as a support and not someone else? And how much has having Mickey helped him become such a great bot laner in such a small amount of time?
And from user 11th hour at we hit the ground.
Well, it was quite an easy pick. I think I just thought he was the best. As I said,
did you actually get to pick him? Like, did you have a strong voice in the assembly of the roster?
Yeah. And the whole year I've been looking him play, watching him play. Also, I went to we went to bootcamp together in off season because like we wanted to just play solo in Korea, and I saw him play with Hans, and they were like, I thought Mickey was really good, right? And then I saw Mrs. have like a mental kind of breakdown kind of thing, and Mickey was like inting all games, but it did not stop me from thinking that he's the best because a lot of things happen under like bad team environment, stressful team environment. Just in general, like it's harder to perform when things are not going well, and people don't know how to deal with it. And I thought that in the G2 environment, he would be the best support. And there is actually an interview I said earlier, I don't know, someone asked me like, maybe it was Riot Features even, and I actually said that I think Mickey has the easiest way to become the best in the role out of all of us, just because of how talented he is and the proportion of how unskilled support is. Like, I had to mention it because he's just so much more talented than other supports. Like, I think props to Hildesang and Mitty there. They're like, I think they're good, but I think Mickey is like really good. And it was just like, as I said, if I see someone play, I know if he's good or not. And I could see Mickey play, and I was like, okay, this guy is really insane. So if I'm gonna play bot lane, I need to play with someone who can like match up with my aggressiveness, you know,
because you're an aggressive player.
My willing to win. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I was not gonna go bot to just become an average bot laner or just this, you know. It was gonna be to win.
Yeah, I'm happy to see both you succeed in bot lane because it's just a cool like. Damn the narrative as much as you want, but it's cool to see a player role swap and be so successful. And also for Mickey, who was kind of always floating below a lot of the big name supports in Europe, because while he was this cool hype playmaker, he never quite had his moments to shine. Like he had 1 or 2 on Splice, he had 1 or 2 on Misfits where people were like, wow, this guy's really smurfing, but he'd never been on a team that was like consistently good.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to see him get that success after what has been, I think.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy as well, like, and he's so handsome as well. Just have to mention
so
it
handsome.
there.
Really bad at Fortnite though, like atrociously bad at Fortnite.
From EU Mid Abuser and at Chovy is good. We kind of went the other way.
There's a
there.
little bit of conflict there in the name versus the tag. Did you maybe hot swap after you saw MSI?
IG, SKT, and TL seem to have fallen off considerably after MSI. Why do you think it is, and how can you guys still look so good?
Well,
Including
honestly, this is such a hard question, and I don't know. I'm so grateful, right, that we are actually so good, because it was such a struggle last year, like being successful and then being like really boosted, because I could see like what we were doing, and now everything just clicked from the first get-go, because everyone was very experienced already and knew how to play, and then we just had to like glance things out, and make sure that we have a lot of things to work on still, but it's just quite insane how well we play with how little time, and it's not something usually EU teams do, or like even teams in general, even Asian teams. So I think it's a mix of our love for the game in general. Everyone like plays a lot of solo queue, even like in the off season, or like whenever we have time to play, we just basically play. And that also leads us sometimes to burnout, but like we do a lot of stuff together, so it's fine, But yeah, I don't know. Everyone is just really good. Everyone is the best in their role, and we can all play champions. And that, so even if like the meta changes, we will be able to adapt and be best at those champions. And that's why I think it didn't matter if we had practice or not for this. That's for the start of summer.
How confident are you in taking home like the World Cup?
Dang.
Well,
it's like
Summoner's Cup.
well,
by the
it's
way.
such an easy question, because if I asked him like if World started today, he'd be like yes, which clearly yes, he would have taken home Worlds if it started
Yes,
today.
our clearly real MSI trophy. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I'm very confident. Like, I'm just gonna say I'm very confident, right? And yeah, if we could win with 3 months of practice, why would we not be able to win with 6 months of practice? But the thing is, it all comes down to such like small things as competitor, where like you just have to keep thinking, how do you win every single day? And I have this like very, very like insane drive to just win. I had it for a long time, so and the MSI didn't really like satisfy me at all.
If you'd gone through IG, would it have satisfied you?
Yeah, it would have. I think I want to beat LPL, because I think LPL is the best region.
That's because
So beating LPL would like mean that, for me, it would mean that we are the best. Like I like, yeah, I think that winning Worlds versus someone like IG or RNG in final would just be like, yeah, we've done it. It's on.
Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah.
Well, before we have one last thing to do today, and it's a bet.
What's the bet?
And the bet's going to bring us back to LEC, because while I'm reasonably sure you're going to go to Worlds at this point, you technically haven't qualified
I'm reasonably
yet.
sure they're gonna win Worlds at this point. I don't know if you've
And
seen
they
IG. They're not looking
technically
great.
qualified, so we'll hold
RNG is
on.
looking good though.
You still have like 8 weeks of
RNG
regular
is
season
looking really good.
and playoffs to go through. So as you've noticed, we have cutouts of some of the most iconic European players: Reckless, Caps, best friends
They're
forever.
so cute together.
There's one player who's missing who might need to be on that wall, and it's you. So are you willing to bet on the G2 perfect split? Is this the perfect split?
Yeah,
This is the 18-0.
this is the 8-0.
So here's the stakes. If you win, you're cut out on that wall forever. We'll get you a cutout. It'll look great.
He has to be bigger than them as well, because the Reckless is a bit taller here, so I have to be like over them.
Slightly larger Perkz cutout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's the deal. If you lose, we'll get you the same size cutout, but we get to dress him up in different ridiculous outfits whenever we feel like it, and you will never look normal on our set. One day you'll have like a hula shirt. The next day you'll be like in a tuxedo. We'll get you we'll fake Photoshop some muscles on. You'll be in like a speed. That's the stakes. You either get to look good and look regal on the set forever, or we get to use you as a perpetual tool to embarrass you for like a year.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I can take that. I'm confident at 8-0, unless our teammates decide to int me now and just yeah, make sure I look like a fool on the EUphoria cast every week. So
It's just one game. That's all they have to in. As soon as they
honestly,
lock in
actually,
first.
I don't know, this bet is looking kind of rough now. I think it's like with Cups on my team, it's not looking like I'm gonna make it. But I think you're just gonna decide to ruin it for one game.
You gonna do it? You down?
Yeah, I'm down, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna carry anyway. So it's
All
fine.
right. If you have any ideas of, it will be a cardboard cutout, most likely like this. So if you have any ideas for how we can dress Perkz up in the event that he does not get the perfect split, please let me know.
Can we-
So far, all I really have is Hawaiian shirt.
Can we put him in a Fnatic jersey?
No, that would be. I think that no.
Carlos would not like that.
No, I think we're gonna piss teams off. I don't want to. We can make Perkz sad. We can't make Carlos. Don't want to make Carlos sad. Speaking of making Carlos happy, is there any shout outs you want to do, Perkz,
Yeah,
to
any
end the
shout
episode?
outs?
Yeah, I will do a shout out to my boss, Carlos, my big boss, Carlos. He's a good owner, you know.
Nice.
He gives me what I need to succeed.
go.
So
Makes it sound like you're a rabbit in a cage. He's a good owner. He feeds me my pellets and my water.
I think Carlos is great, right? Because he is ever since I joined, he's like given me what I need to succeed, basically. Like even it looked like very like kind of like undoable, like I say like getting Sven and Mitty in the middle of like the year, basically, and then getting this roster as well. So I always have the support I need to actually succeed, and even when we don't do well or something, he like makes sure that I'm doing well, you know. But I'm always fine, you know. But there's times where I'm not always fine. So Carlos is just supportive, and that's like what I think is the most important of a team owner, and that's like what every team owner should actually look to be. Is like become like a friend to your team rather than like an owner, you know. So big shout out to Carlos and to g2esports.com/shop. You can get our spring collection T-shirts. They're kind of nice, and
the Carlos one was very genuine and heartfelt, and I sincerely appreciate that. I was just giving you an opportunity to do the g2esports.com/shot meme, but that was so rehearsed. Like the second you went into your g2esports.com, I'm like, you have been trained to say that. Hell yeah. Media training for your players. Hashtag sellout. Also, that's going to be it for EUphoria Season 4, Episode 2. Thank you again.
Thank you guys for joining me.
us. Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you for the discussion.
It was great having you guys on the
Yeah, it was
cast
good.
here.
Good having you.
Yeah, Drakos, can you
It
just
was
shut up
great
for
to
a
be
bit?
At this point, I'm just like, Perkz is just number one. Just put him number one on the list.
We can't beat. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
That's not. I feel like that. We'll worry about our integrity as analysts later
No, but you should go back and listen to the section. We do talk mighty highly of you.
at number 13.
I
Anyway, that's gonna do it for us on Season 4,
guys.
Episode 2.
I don't have to listen to the my ego will get boosted if you guys talk highly of me. It's fine.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you later.